Hi everyone. Um, so what I wanted to do was essentially give you an introduction to BuzzEV and particularly Buzz Empower, the home energy management solution that BuzzEV has got. Um, Very simply, if I start right from the beginning, uh, currently the Earth is not sustainable. It's not sustainable because of climate change, and climate change is mainly occurring because there's too much CO2, that's carbon dioxide, in the air, which is resulting in global warming and extreme weather. Uh, Now, the reason there's too much carbon dioxide in the air is because of three main factors. Um, One is industry, the other is transportation, and the third is heating. Roughly a third of all emissions are industry, transportation, and heating. So bringing it down to transportation and heating, we have solutions relating to how to reduce the transportation and heating. The governments have been looking at it, and essentially you may have heard about net zero targets. So these are targets given to countries relating to how much CO2 they can produce, and net zero means that they shouldn't produce any more than they have already produced or are producing. Therefore, they should be producing only as much as is being absorbed by for example the trees. So i.e. they are not producing any more CO2 than is currently in the atmosphere. The net zero targets mean various changes to industry. So, for example, on transportation, there has been legislation that electric cars, these are battery operated electric cars, should be introduced. Most of the manufacturers will only make battery operated electric cars in the future. The targets are 2050 for net zero for the UK, and in terms of electric cars, all electric cars that are being sold should be, shall I say, non-electric cars, i.e. ICE cars, that's the internal combustion engine cars, cannot be sold post 2035. So people are trying to meet the targets, and then various organizations need to do their own audit in terms of their carbon footprint and effectively show that they are net zero, whether they are banks or they are airlines or they are hospitals. Essentially, everyone is now required to produce their carbon footprint. So coming back to that, so the Buzz EV business model is essentially saying, okay, how do I operate in this area and help people reduce their carbon footprint and then do it through cost savings. So if I now look at a typical home, you use your energy in the typical home in three main categories. One is your car. So essentially, you are putting petrol in your car and burning energy through petrol. That produces CO2. So that is what legislation is saying, and a lot of people are now moving to electric cars. The other area is in your home. You have consumption of electricity and gas. Electricity for your utilities, such as and your appliances, such as washing machines, fridges, TVs, etc., and largely gas for your gas heater, the boiler. So the gas heater does your cooking. The gases do your cooking and your hot water. So in the home, you're having roughly 5,000 kilowatts of energy used for your electricity, a similar amount used for your heating and your cooking, and around 3,000 kilowatts hours in terms of your car and the petrol that you're burning. Once you move into electric cars, you essentially move that energy sourcing from your petrol pump to your home, and that gives us an opportunity. The opportunity that it gives us is that there is a higher consumption at home and therefore the payback with energy management solutions in your home improves. And that is for us the trigger point of for BuzzEV to get you as a customer, because then you are a high value customer, you're consuming more energy at your home, and we can actually help solve this for you. We can reduce your electricity bill by up to 80%, and I'll explain how we will do that. That's the headline. So essentially we can reduce your electricity cost by more than 80%. If we do that, your bills are very significantly lower, but your carbon footprint is also lower, and we can do that by financing the equipment itself. So there's no cash outlay if you don't have the cash. You are essentially saving on your bills, so it's not even seen as a cost, it's seen as a saving. You're already paying the bills you're paying. We will reduce that bill. The payments relating to the equipment will come off, and there will still be a reduction. So that in a nutshell is our solution. So how do we reduce the electricity bill by 80%? Feels too good to be true, right? So now we need to go into the details of understanding how this can be done. I'm an electrical engineer. That was my first degree, and I'm an investment banker. So I have a combination of I understand finance, I understand electricity. Electricity is the new money for energy. By that I mean, if you're looking at the fact that if we need to reduce CO2, we need to move away from hydrocarbons, and we need renewable energy sources. So that is solar, wind, biogas, etc., etc., nuclear, and so on. All of that is actually converted into electricity because electricity is easier to manage. And therefore, my statement that we are into an electric revolution, and electricity is the new money for energy. So now coming back to how we can reduce your costs by 80%, it is to do essentially with understanding how the grid works. Very simply, the grid is like a stock market. It is based on demand and supply, and the prices of electricity on the grid are based on demand and supply. So if you've got too much supply, it damages the grid, and therefore electricity goes very cheap. If there's not enough, then new power stations need to be started, and therefore the electricity cost is very high. What happens to you on your daily life affects the energy consumption on the grid. So if you think about your typical day, you get up in the morning from somewhere like around 6 a.m. The activity you do consumes some energy. So you turn on the kettle, you watch a little bit of TV, you have the toaster and so on, and then you go to work. Then the energy consumption drops again. If you're working from home, then around lunchtime you're going to be doing some things again, making a coffee or sort of heating something in your home. And then essentially the peak, the real rush hour for energy consumption at home is around 6 p.m. onwards. So you come back from work, now you are active till you go to bed. You watch TV, you cook your dinner, you iron your clothes, you do most of your activity, you do your washing, whatever, all between 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then you go to sleep. So this means that electricity cost is the most expensive when the demand is the highest. So what we do is we can demand shift. I'll come back to how we can do demand shift. So that is one of the biggest elements in terms of our solution. The other is we can also help you generate your own electricity. So you can think of generating from solar panels, for example. And then we also look at your energy consumption at home, and we can efficientize some of your consumption. So you turn on your washing machine when in the night instead of during the peak time. You charge your car in the non-peak time, etc., etc. The devices can also be more energy efficient. So we can tell you whether your fridge is energy efficient or not, because the signature that comes off in terms of the electric usage, we can say which device was turned on when. And then lastly, we can change some of the devices. So for example, if you've got a gas boiler, we can suggest that you use heat pumps or a steam. There's a new technology that can essentially convert water into steam, and that heats up your home. So we can look at solutions relating to converting everything into electricity. Now, so I've already said that we have two main areas of reducing. One is producing your own electricity through your solar, and then the second one is through demand shift. The rest is around your consumption and how to reduce your consumption. So let me try and explain what demand shift and how we can do demand shift, because the solar will only save you about 15 to 20% in terms of your energy. The reason why solar only saves you 15 to 20% is because the sun is out mainly when you are at the office. So essentially, if you think about it, you get up at 6, you leave for your office, you're at your office from 9 till 5 o'clock. The sun's mainly out from from maybe 6 in the morning till about 6 in the evening. The peak being around noon time, right? So at noon time, you're not doing anything at home. So all that energy that you are generating from the sun effectively goes to waste. You can maybe heat your water with it, but other than that, it goes to waste because you're not consuming. If you could store that through a battery solution, then you could use it at the time when is the peak time. So therefore, our solution comes with solar panels and batteries. But it gets a little bit more complicated than that, because the actual grid is not just pricing like that. Now, if you think of the North Sea, there's a gust of wind, and there's all these windmills there that are generating energy. And you can have a gust of energy in the grid. So the prices in the grid at that time would become very low. So you need to be able to check the grid periodically and ensure that you are using or consuming at the times when it's cheapest. So we have a solution which is a energy management solution that will check the grid and ensure that there is a little bit of AI and APIs. APIs ensure that the various devices feed information into essentially like a central computer or a central brain that works out what should be the best way. So should your car be charging at that time, or should you be actually releasing energy? Should your battery be releasing energy or charging at that time, etc., etc. So that energy management solution is a bespoke solution that we've got. So the combination of solar, batteries, alternators, and our energy management solution ensures that we can reduce your bill very significantly. A last element of this is we can also do what we call arbitrage. Arbitrage is essentially buying electricity when it's cheap and selling it back when it's expensive. So you can actually make money. So your home could actually become a profit center once you've put the full BuzzEV solution into your home. Now I'll stop there for a little while. So essentially, how do we do this and what does it cost? The cost is typically around 10 to 15,000 pounds for a typical home, and the energy consumption or the savings is around the 4 to 5,000 pounds in terms of per year. So effectively, you can pay back in 2 to 3 years the total cost of the installation. If you think of it as rate of return on your investment, you're looking at between 20 to 40%, probably typically around 30%. Which other investment are you making that gives you a 30% return? Not many. If you put your money in your bank, you can get maybe about 5% at the best, because the Bank of England base rate is around 5.25, right? Most likely you can get about 4%. So 4% versus 30% return. And based on money that you don't have, because we will finance the equipment also if you need. So it's an unbeatable solution. No one else is doing it. There are lots of people just selling you solar panels and walking away. As I say, you can save maybe about 15 to 20% on that, and the payback is quite long. But we have a unique solution, and that solution is a service. We are not trying to just sell you our equipment. Okay, that was relating to home. What I've said for home also applies for businesses. So the care home, the golf club, the hotel, motel, the pub, the community center, it all applies there. And our solutions are there for all of these categories. We are particularly focused on care homes and golf clubs. Typically, care homes are large buildings that have the ability to have a large amount of solar panels on them and batteries. And if we lower the cost, we are saving cash flow for your business, which is essentially going to help you as a business owner. The same with golf clubs, because again, you have large spaces and you have requirements to charge the electric golf carts. In addition, what with golf clubs you can do is we can actually install for you chargers. So you could actually charge your customers to recharge their car and make a profit on that. So both our solutions are revenue earning solutions that will affect your bottom line. If you need more information, you can go to our website, which is at buzzev.com. That's BUZZEV.com. There's a whole host of information there in terms of the various solutions, the equipment. You can actually buy some of the equipment that we use. There are brochures to download. And if you have further questions, then you can ask the questions and we will respond. I hope this has been informative, and I'm always available if you wanted. You could also email me at irshad@buzzev.com, and I will ensure that you get a response. Thank you very much.